Hi, my name is Reverend Kim McGee, and I am from Nashville, Tennessee, but I have been a resident of South Louisiana now for 30 years. That's where I've made my home, and I love it in Louisiana. I am a chaplain, and my call story is quite interesting, for it began 20 years ago in a different church in a different denomination. Um, I was pregnant with my third son a few months before birth, and uh, I felt a call upon my life that made me respond to just a voice that began a different journey. Um, Lots of details there, but just in the brief, I think that season of my life taught me how to listen to God, and also, just more specifically, that there were yeses and nos and waits that were a part of my call story that brought me to this point in my life. Um, I currently am a chaplain at Our Lady of the Lake Hospital. I've been here since 2014, and it has been a beautiful journey. I feel part of my call story was also another special moment where the Lord just laid it upon my heart that chaplaincy um, was what He had prepared me for. And it brought together many life experiences in my personal narrative, in my family, just to be transformed now to work in oncology and palliative care. And many may wonder what palliative care means. And I get the privilege of journeying with people who are facing very serious illness and most often have to come close to facing the reality of death. And death is something that many people want to avoid. But I feel that's the call that God has placed and how He's prepared me for this moment. And I think that this journey has taught me in that special place that I have developed sort of a comfortableness with those unanswerable questions that people face and how to get close to that and hearing another person's story. And then also just bearing witness. Often you can't change someone else's suffering, but there is something um, quite profound when you allow your heart to be open to those experiences. And in that way, I find healthcare ministry is a spiritual practice of keeping my heart open, and it has changed me because of that. There's this moment that I think the moment I think spans maybe 2 or 3 weeks in August of 2013, and it's very tied to that my description of my call story. But that was a moment where I said I left another church and a denomination and a church position um, to follow Christ in this new way that landed me in the Methodist Church. And that moment, the first time I stepped into a Methodist church was August, I think, of 13 of August 8, somewhere around August of 2013. And it was the launch of the America Street service at First United Methodist Church. And Reverend Katie McKay Simpson was preaching, and uh, God used some very profound words in that sermon, some experiences and the welcome and the hospitality of many people in that building and that church, not only just for Kim, but my husband and my three sons. And it is a time that God, I feel God gave me a very special deepening, made it very clear that United Methodist Church was where I was going to find a new home. Well, I have many people to thank because, as I mentioned earlier, my journey's been a long one, almost 20 years. And who would imagine? But I'm thankful to God for the opportunity, uh, how He's drawn my heart to this journey, and how He's been very faithful to give me exactly what I needed every time to make a new step and to follow Him into an unknown future. So first, I'm thankful for that. I'm very thankful. Secondly, to my husband, Mike. We were young and in our young 20s, right out of college, and I don't think he would have ever thought that he would be be married to a minister nearly 30 years later. And I know it makes me emotional. His love and his support has been a big part of how God has affirmed a call to ministry. And I'm thankful to you, Mike. I'm thankful for my three sons, my mother, and then, of course, just many people, Reverend Brady Witten and the First United Methodist congregation they have been there the whole time. They're not just a charge conference, they're a church home for my family. I'm thankful to them. Margaret Johnson and the late Reverend Jerry Johnson, mentors like Rhonda Furtado. And I also have just a very big place in my heart that I have not been formed by just United Methodists in this formational process, but I have been formed very uniquely by the pastoral care staff of Our Lady of the Lake Hospital, that is made up of 13 clergy, Protestants, and Catholic priests, and from all different denominations. So I think so much, I'm so grateful when you get to do spiritual formation and to this call point in life, and you recognize that God uses not just even that pastoral care staff, but I'm grateful to Our Lady of the Lake Hospital and the doctors and the nurses to journey, most especially these last few years, through COVID, and to learn what happens when people go out in the world and try to do ministry, a compassionate ministry. It changes. There's a lot of strength in that, and I'm thankful for all the doctors and the nurses and the people, those teams that I do life in ministry with. So thank you.